everybody? Cinnamon Sickness here with your daily sickness video, and happy Tuesday to each and every one of you. We're going to get right down to today's daily sickness video for you guys, because today I have some reviews for you. We're going to take a look at some titles that I've like my way of remembering which digital copies I watched. Anyway, so we got some reviews for you today. You guys know these videos take way too long. I'm always like, quick reviews, and then it's like 3 hours later I finally get through all these. So we're going to dive right in. Only thing I'm going to say really quickly is that I just love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching these videos. I really appreciate it, especially recently. I mean, all the likes, all the comments, all the watching. You guys rock. Really appreciate it. So anyway, we're going to just dive right in. So, all right, first title up here, we watched Classic Albums Metallica, or the Black Album, the self-titled album. This is a great series. These classic albums releases, check them out. If you come across one and it happens to be about an album you are a fan of, you have to see it. These are extremely well done. The first time I ever watched one of these, I was like, you know, what is this going to be? I was kind of thinking it was going to be very, like, low budget, just kind of like something slapped together just to be like, hey, you like this band? Check them out. I thought that's what it was going to be. I was completely wrong. First one I watched was one on Nirvana, Nevermind. And it's just, they're so well done. There's all kinds of great interviews. They tell you everything. Like, for instance, this one here, which I watched my UMD copy of on my PSP. Well, I didn't actually watch my PSP. I watched it through my PSP, hooked up to my TV. So this talks all about, it briefly just talks about like Metallica, like in the beginning, like kind of where they came from and stuff like that, and their albums they put out before this one. It briefly discusses that, because really we're focusing on the Black Album here. So we're really focusing on one album, but they don't just skip over the beginning of Metallica. And they tell you kind of about the beginning of Metallica, and then they go into what they were doing right before the album, and then how they went into like writing it, and what went into doing the album, and then they talk all about it. The main focus is all about the album and just what went into making it and recording it. And they interview the bands, and they're going back, and they're actually talking to the bands, and they're playing recordings of them in the studio recording stuff, and they're all laughing, having a joke about it, having a good time about it. It's really awesome. And then afterwards they talk about like when they went on tour and stuff, and it's just such a great, well done documentary. If you come across one of these classic album releases, there's a whole bunch of these, and it happens to be about an album you enjoy, these are worth picking up and checking out. They're very well done. I was very surprised the first time I ever watched one of these. So now when I come across one and it's about an album I enjoy, I always pick it up. So these are cool. Definitely check it out. And if you like Metallica, this is something to see. Very cool. All right, then I checked out Dallas Buyers Club. Really enjoyed this one as well. I still can't believe that's Jared Leto right there. It's one of those things where I'm watching the movie and I'm like, is that Jared Leto? And I'm like, no, that's not him. And then when the movie's over and I looked it up, I'm like, holy crap, that was him. Like, good job playing this character. So Matthew McConaughey, just fantastic actor. I love Matthew McConaughey, and he was great in this. Very interesting to see this guy get AIDS, and of course, being down south and being the time period it was. Everybody, still in that mindset of just AIDS is a gay disease. Only gay people get AIDS. And, they were joking about that in the course of getting in the movie and whatnot. And, of course, he ends up getting AIDS because he's having sex with just, like, everybody and their mom, more or less, literally. He's just bagging women left and right. And, of course, at some point down the line, he got AIDS from one of them because one of them had AIDS. He fucked him. He got AIDS. Sorry for the cursing. He got AIDS. So, very interesting to watch. Excuse me. I'm already starting to get a dry throat. Really should have got some water for this. So, very interesting to see what this guy goes through. He just, he thinks he's just kind of sick and whatnot and everything like that. And he ends up getting to the point where he just gets so sick that he ends up going into the hospital. And that's where they do some tests and they find out that he has AIDS. And even the doctor asks him if he's practiced in, basically in gay sex. And I'm like, wow, even the doctors back then thought that it's a gay thing, which is pretty crazy, and pretty crazy that was the mindset back then, that, somebody who was straight couldn't possibly get AIDS. So, very interesting to watch him go through all this stuff about it, him having AIDS, and of course everybody like outcasting him because all his hillbilly friends, of course think, well, if he has AIDS, he must be gay and whatnot, just like he thought about everybody else who also got AIDS, who may or may not have been gay. But the really interesting part of the movie is not just so much about watching this, kind of this hillbilly, who's very kind of set in his ways, get this disease that he associated with homosexuality, and him having to deal with that. I mean, that's certainly a big part of the movie. But then also, he ends up kind of finding out about these drugs that aren't really being approved here in the States, and they're actually helping him. He's getting better on these drugs. He's not getting better on these drugs that are being tested out in the United States. He's getting better on these drugs that are a lot more made from like herbs and things like that. Things that aren't necessarily like drugs. They're drugs you can that aren't necessarily, they're legal drugs and stuff like that. So he's finding all this stuff out, and he ends up just finding out that it's this whole big kind of like conspiracy thing, and I kind of feel that this is still the way it is, where these drug companies are just looking to make money. They're not really necessarily making or wanting to make you necessarily get better. They just kind of want to keep the symptoms like level, so you had to keep taking the drugs, things like that. Also, the fact that they don't want these more like natural drugs, people finding out about them, because you can't patent like the natural drug. You can patent your fancy chemically drug, but you can't patent the natural drug, because it's against the law. So they don't want that, and it's all this craziness that goes down with him. This is where the Dallas Buyer Club comes into play, where he's bringing in these drugs, all these drugs from Mexico and other countries and whatnot. He's bringing all these drugs in and then selling them to other clients who also have AIDS, and they're all kind of starting to get better and whatnot, because this whole big thing, and the government cracks down on him as well, because he kind of finds like this loophole, and he can't, because he's not really selling them the drugs. He's making them pay a membership and then giving them the drugs. So technically it's this loophole where he's not a drug dealer. He's not selling people these drugs. He's just making people pay a membership to be in his Dallas Buyers Club, his little club, and then he gives them the drugs for free. So again, he found this loophole, but the government's like cracking down on him, and they come up with all these like BS laws just to make it so he can't do this. They're basically making laws, not that are like laws that really need to be made. They're making laws just to help the drug companies and stuff like that. And there's even a great part where Matthew McConaughey's character takes these drug companies to like court and stuff like that, and the judge doesn't rule in the favor of Matthew McConaughey. He doesn't really win the case, doesn't lose the case either, but it's great to watch the judge just say like, I'm sickened by the practices of these drug companies, and basically like reams them out, which is pretty cool. So that was everything in a nutshell. This movie is so much more than everything I just said, but it's definitely worth checking out. I'm sure you've heard good things about this, and they definitely are all correct. This was a great watch. Really enjoyed it checking this one out, so see it. All right, then I watched a piece of paper here. Watched the ultraviolet digital copy, because I don't have a physical copy, of Batman Unlimited Animal Instinct. Another great DC Universe movie. I did really enjoy it. When it comes to DC Universe movies, it seems like there's two types. There's your PG, and then there's your PG-13. The PG-13 ones are obviously they're darker ones, kind of like the Batman Year One, and what was it? Batman. Why am I forgetting? It was Dark. Oh my God, I'm so forgetting the name of that movie. And is it Dark Knight Rises or Dark Knight? I'm trying to look for it now. You guys know what I mean. Yeah, was that it? You guys know what I mean. The part 1 and part 2. I am drawing a blank right now. My brain has gone completely blank, and I'm so like trying to talk to you guys and look at my Ds right now. And but I think I have it on Blu-ray. I bought them on DVD. I think I rebought them on Blu-ray, so I can't look at them. But you guys know what I mean. Great movies. They're kind of more like the PG-13 movies. They're a bit edgier. They're a bit darker. They're a bit more gritty. They're not necessarily something you want your like little kid necessarily watching. But ones like Batman Unlimited Animal Instinct, which is a lot more like family friendly. It's still a good watch. It's still a fun, decent Batman story. But again, it is a bit more family friendly. It is a bit more kiddie, and I got nothing wrong with them. I think pretty much. DC. They're on a great track. They've done some animated movies where I'm just like, they're not the best, but for the most part, they do great movies. I don't think I've ever seen a bad Batman movie. I mean, No, I think all the Batman movies were great. I loved them all. And this is another one. This was a really great Batman film. Definitely worth checking out. Red Robin, Batman, Nightwing, and everybody coming together to fight this animal squad. I mean, it's the Penguin and Cheetah, Killer Croc, and some ape whose name I forget. Not was it not wow, I'm having my brain is just going like Batman blank today. I don't know what's going on. Not the one you're thinking of. It's a different one. When they said his name, I was like, oh, I don't know who this character is. I've certainly seen many ape characters in the DC universe, but not that one. They even make a reference to the other character. Anyway, I'm drawing a blank. You're going to leave comments down below, reaming me out, letting me know what character it is, and it doesn't matter. But anyway, great watch. Definitely recommend it. If you like Batman movies, if you like the DC Universe movies, check it out. It's definitely worth watching. But like I said, it's more of a PG one as opposed to a PG-13 one. Of course, I like the PG-13 ones the best. I like them raw, gritty, and in your face. I like a little bit of edge to my animated Batman. But it doesn't mean that the PG ones are bad. They're not. They're great watches. And Batman Unlimited, Animal Instinct, definitely worth a watch. Definitely worth checking out. See it, and I'm going to leave comments below letting me know all the names of the movie and the gorilla character that I forgot. All right, next up was Larry Crowne. About time I finally watched this movie. This is a movie I've been wanting to check out for some time now. A movie I bought a little while back and it's just been sitting on my shelf collecting dust, so finally grabbed it, finally checked it out, and I half liked it. I like the idea of Tom Hanks's character where he just recently got a divorce, but he's working this job. And, you know, even though he had just had a divorce recently, his life seems to be pretty good. He's pretty happy where he is. He's working a job, basically, I think it's U-Mart, but it's basically a Kmart type store. So he's working in this Kmart type store, and he's loving it. He's been like employee of the month a bunch of times. He's so happy and energized to go to work. He loves, setting everything up, and he just seems to be in a great place. And they fire him because he doesn't have a college degree, and apparently there's some like thing in the company where like if you can't, they don't allow people to kind of like stay level. You got to keep going up in the company, and he doesn't have a college degree, so he can't go up any further than he is. So they let him go, which sounds like BS, because he's basically like, I'm happy where I am, just keep me here, I'm good. But they don't let him do that, so they ends up getting fired. And of course now at this point he's screwed because he needs to find another job, and he can't find one. Like nobody's hiring. He can't, because again he doesn't have a college degree and whatnot, so nobody really wants him. And he's screwed because he has this house, and he bought out his wife's half of the house when he got divorced, everything split, and he bought his wife's half, and now he can't afford his house. So what's he gonna do? He ends up deciding to go back to college, actually, and he ends up like befriending this gang of motor scooters, which is pretty funny. Befriends them and kind of starts to let them like influence him a little bit, and becomes a little bit kind of hip and cool, because he ends up getting himself a motor scooter, actually, because there's a cool scene where he's filling up his SUV and he's like up to like $70-$80 of gas, and then he watches this guy drive up in his motor scooter, put like $4 of gas and drive off, and he's like, I guess I'm getting one of these. So pretty interesting. And that's the part I like. I like watching this guy lose his job, down on his luck, and then kind of get things going, get his motor running, and get things back up and going back to school and all this stuff. And it's pretty cool character. I really enjoy watching him, and him befriending like the younger kids, and the younger kids kind of like accepting him as one of them. It's pretty interesting. What I don't necessarily like is the relationship part between him and Julia Roberts. Julia Roberts is his teacher, and I just think the relationship just seems to kind of just like happen, because she's like married, but she's not happy in her relationship, in her marriage, and it just seems like there wasn't much of a build up, in my opinion. I thought there should have been more of a build up, more of this great big build up of how this relationship kind of came, and it just seems to be like, oh, I kind of like her, and now we're gonna be together. It just sort of seemed like that. It just kind of seemed like, bam, it sort of happens. Like, I mean, you could tell they were trying to build it up, but there was so little of a build up that it just sort of just felt like it happened. So I'm not saying there wasn't a build up. It just was hardly there, and I thought that kind of ruined it for me. I would have liked to have seen more of a build up. Thought there should have been more of this great big build up of how they got together, what happened. I just didn't feel like it was there. I just sort of felt like they just boom, fell in love, and now we're together, and screw my my husband, and we forget him, and we're just happy. And like, what? No, we need him. We need him more. So I did enjoy the movie. I just didn't think it was perfect. But would I say it's worth a watch? Yeah, I'd say it's worth a watch. It was something you want to check out. It wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. I just thought it could have been better. All right, then Focus, which was all right. William H. Macy was great at this. I really liked him in this this movie, and Lauren Dern was also really good as well. They were fantastic in this film. But the movie is all about, it's kind of weird. So William H. Macy lives on this block. It takes place during World War II, so it kind of shows you that not only was Nazi Germany very anti-Jew, America was as well, which is very sad. And he lives on this block of just people who are just really anti-Jew. And there's this Jewish couple on the block who run this shop, and they're trying to like kick him out of the block and whatnot. And William H. Macy kind of just is like, he's kind of just indifferent. He's kind of just like, whatever, just let it be. They're not hurting anybody. Just let them go. I'm not saying I love them or I hate them. I just don't care. Just let them do, let them run their business. Who cares? But, the rest of the block's kind of like, well, you're kind of like either with us or you're against us. So he kind of has to kind of go with them, or he's going to make trouble. But he's still kind of just trying to put it off and just kind of like, he's kind of blowing everybody off. Like they're kind of wanting to go to like meetings and stuff. And he's like, no. But he basically ends up getting a pair of glasses. And from these glasses, they're apparently Jewish glasses, his mother says. And as soon as he gets these pair of glasses, people kind of just go, huh, like he's been putting all coming to the meetings off. He's kind of like cool with the Jewish people down the street. He doesn't seem to mind that they're ruining our block. Now he's got these glasses. What's going on here? And of course, once he ends up falling in love with and Lauren Dern and ends up marrying her, some people start to think like, they just look at her and they think she's a Jewish girl. So it's basically this whole big thing about just like blatant racism and kind of mistaken identities, where just people just assume just by how somebody looks that they're Jewish. They just assume that William H. Macy and Lauren Dern were just Jewish just because of how they look. Not because they are. They're not. Neither of them are Jewish in this movie, but they just assume they are. And all the shit that goes down. Again, I'm cursing too much in this video. I'm sorry. If there's kids watching, I do apologize. But all the crap that goes down because people just think they're Jewish and whatnot. And I thought it was a pretty decent movie. It really showed you just how like bad racism was. A lot of people think just like, oh, those Nazis were horrible, but really, America wasn't any better. I mean, we weren't. I can't say we weren't putting people in camps. That definitely happened, but we weren't necessarily putting people into ovens and gas chambers and stuff like that. I mean, it wasn't quite that bad, but the horrible racism was just as bad as anybody in Nazi Germany who was against the Jews. I mean, it was. I mean, there were so many little Hitlers running around America. It was pretty bad, and then even putting Japanese into camps and stuff like that. I mean, people just seem to forget that, America was pretty much no better. We weren't this great thing. We were pretty bad. And this really goes to show you just how bad it really was. I mean, just by somebody buying a pair of glasses that are Jewish glasses, well, all of a sudden you must be a Jew and we're going to just come down, rain our fury down upon you. And it's pretty intense, pretty insane. So it was a decent movie. I mean, I wasn't blown away by it, but it was a decent watch, worth checking out. If you want to see it, I would recommend checking it out if it seems like a movie you're interested in. Again, it wasn't one of the best movies I've seen. I've seen better movies kind of dealing with this topic, but Focus was still a decent watch, and I would recommend checking it out if it's something you want to see. All right, then I watched a complete first season of Back to You, which I have the rental version of, but Back to You, starring Kelsey Grammer and Patricia Heaton. Absolutely fantastic. This was right after Everybody Loves Raymond. This was the show Patricia Heaton did. And I kind of feel bad for this show because it never really got anywhere. It got good ratings and whatnot and good reviews, and people seem to really dig the show and enjoy the show, but unfortunately, it happened during the writer's strike, and things just kind of went downhill for the show. Halfway through the season, all of a sudden they get rid of one of the main characters. There's this weather girl who's pretending to be Hispanic. They get rid of her. They just drop her character entirely. They bring in this like Asian, like nasty kind of Asian boss who like her quirky character is 1 minute she seems really nice, and then next minute she's evil. They bring in her. They change Kelsey Grammer and Patricia Heaton in this show. They have a daughter together. They're not married or anything like that. Kelsey Grammer basically, Patricia Heaton and Kelsey Grammer worked together on this news show. And then he went off to bigger and better things. And before he went off, they had a little party for him. And Patricia Heaton and Kelsey Grammer ended up hooking up. And she got pregnant, but she never told Kelsey Grammer. And all these years later, he comes back and he comes back to work on the show with her. And then that's where the tension is. That's where the big tension of the show is, and the big plot of the show is that they have this kid together and they don't really want anybody to know, and should they even let the daughter know, and it's pretty interesting. But halfway through the season, they changed the daughter. It's a new actress. I'm just like, what is going on? And from what I read, because the whole writer's strike thing, like there was a break in the show when they came back. That's when they decided to make all these changes. And I think it just got to the point where they were just like, we made too much of a mess of this show. We're just gonna call it quits, because it was, from what I read, it was getting good reviews. It was doing well, but people seem to like the show and the idea of the show. But my guess is that the studio behind the show kind of just went, we screwed this one up. Let's just pull the plug before it just gets any worse. It is what it is. We screwed up. It wasn't right. It didn't work out the way we had planned. We're just gonna call it quits, which was good because Patricia Heaton went on to The Middle, which is a brilliant show. And I'm so forgetting his name. Why am I like the worst with people's names? I don't know. I'm trying to look for his name on the back here. I'm not gonna find it. Gosh darn it. Anyway, you can leave a comment below. I'm sure somebody's gonna know or look it up. But one of the people from the Modern Family, he went on to do that show and whatnot. And again, I feel like an idiot because I forget his name. But there's that. So all these people went on to do bigger and better things. Again, forgetting names, but the guy who does Olaf in the movie Frozen, he went on to he's doing pretty well right now. He's getting up there. He was in I'm forgetting oh my god, what is with my brain today? I'm forgetting like everything I want to see. The movie I just watched, oh my god. Yeah. Anyway, but jeez, oh man. Oh my god, wow. It's one of those days where my brain is just not remembering things I need it to remember. I do apologize, guys. But everyone on the show basically went on to kind of do bigger and better things. So it sort of worked out for everybody, I would say. For the most part, everybody seemed to is doing pretty well for themselves. So kind of a blessing in disguise, I guess, that this show got canceled, didn't get picked up for a second season. Though it was a decent show, it was good. Had it got picked up again, I would have been happy because I would have kept watching it. But again, everybody went on to do bigger and better things. I think the shows that everybody went on to were much better shows than Back to You. So good watch, but I would recommend picking up season 1. Only lasted one season. I would recommend picking it up, but again, there was everybody went on to do bigger and better things, so it was all right. All right, then I checked out Grudge Match, which again, about time I finally got around to checking this one out. This is a decent watch. I really enjoyed it, and of course, it's Raging Bull versus Rocky, and that was the big thing, of course. And I thought it was a decent watch. I enjoyed it. I mean, would I say it was perfect? No, I wouldn't necessarily say it was perfect, but it was a fun movie watching these two characters. They were rivals back in their heyday of boxing, and Stallone ended up not doing this rematch because De Niro, his character, wanted, he lost and they won a rematch, and now De Niro for all these years basically has hated Stallone's character because he felt that he didn't get his rematch. Robert De Niro was basically like, when we had our last fight, I lost because I wasn't ready. I didn't train. I wasn't really ready for the fight. It wasn't a fair fight. And even later on in the movie, Stallone basically is like, that's true. It wasn't a fair fight. You were not ready for that fight. We should have called it off or waited or something like that. But Stallone never did another fight. And because of that, Robert De Niro just hates his character, just despises him. And of course, Stallone despises De Niro's character because the woman that Kim Basinger, who Stallone was in love. See, I'm remembering some names now. Check that out. Kim Basinger, who Stallone was absolutely in love with. or sorry, the card, Vicky Vale, who he was in love with. I'm going off on a tangent. Who he was in love with, actually ended up hooking up with Robert De Niro and having a kid with him. So you got that whole drama. It's pretty insane. There's this love triangle sort of drama thing going on. Although Kim Basinger was never in love with Robert De Niro. She actually hates Robert De Niro. It was a big kind of mistake sort of thing where she was trying to get back at Stallone's character, and she thought the best way she could possibly hurt him was to hook up with Robert De Niro. Literally, she knows she would get pregnant and have a son, and of course, the son ends up tracking Robert De Niro down. He didn't, in finding him, and he has a grandchild and all that stuff, and it's all this crazy drama going down on top of the fact that they're going to get back together, and they're going to have another battle all these years later when they're much older. I mean, there you go. Everybody's much older at this point. They're gonna battle, and everybody thinks this is probably a bad idea. Ends up being this pretty cool fight where they kind of like end up sort of becoming friends in the end. So definitely worth checking out. I did enjoy it. Thought it was great. I mean, I wouldn't say it was perfect, and a lot of other people seem to say the same thing. When I mentioned I was watching this, I got a lot of I love this movie and a lot of I thought it was going to be better sort of comments, and I could see how some people maybe thought it was going to be better, but in the end, I'd say it was a decent watch and worth checking out if it's your thing. And again, it's Raging Bull versus Rocky. That's pretty cool. All right, and then I checked out Bride Wars. Yeah, I did watch this one. And as I mentioned, I've been getting into chick flicks recently, and that's why I wanted to watch this one. But I would say it was just an okay chick flick. I wasn't blown away by this one. I expected it to be maybe better. I wasn't. Not that I was expecting much from it. It's not like I went into this thing and it's gonna be great. I kind of went into it thinking it's gonna be all right, and that was the case. It was just all right. It's Kate Hudson, Anne Hathaway. They've been friends for all these years. They've always planned on this huge, big wedding. They know what's gonna happen. They all have it planned out, and things go bad when they book their wedding. They book 2 different dates. Everything seems to be going great, and it gets messed up where their wedding's gonna be on the same date now, and they're competing with each other for their friends because their wedding's gonna be on the same day at the same time. Of course, like that would never happen, but of course. So now they got this problem where one of their weddings is gonna get ruined. One of them is either gonna have to move their wedding to another time, which they don't want to do because they both want it to be within a certain month. One of them have to move it outside that month or like move it years later if they want to keep it in that month. They don't want to do that, and both of them end up trying to like sabotage each other's wedding, and that's the whole gist of the movie. Is that they're best friends who end up hating each other because they try to sabotage each other's wedding so that they can have the wedding they've always wanted. And in the end, they realize that it wasn't worth it. Our friendship is more meaningful than anything, and being friends is the greatest thing in the world. And okay, you see it coming. I mean, if you watch this movie and don't know they're gonna become friends again at the end of the movie, you have never seen a movie in your entire life, apparently. So, was it okay? I guess. I mean, it's what it is. I can't say I hate it or anything like that. I mean, it is what it is. It's Bride Wars. I mean, what did I expect going into it? Did I expect it to be, the next Citizen Kane? Not exactly. So, again, it is what it is. If it's your type of movie, check it out. Otherwise, why would you need to see it? All right. Then some more movies on paper here. I watched my digital copy of The People versus George Lucas, and a lot of you guys were telling me to check it out, so I got all this credit through Cinema Now. I think it was some weird mistake where when Cinema Now took over Target Ticket, you're supposed to get credit for movies that didn't transfer. All my movies transferred, so there must have been something weird where for some reason they thought a lot of something didn't transfer, and I had like $250 worth of store credits at Cinema Now randomly. I wouldn't even have known. I just happened to randomly log on to my Cinema Now account. I'm like, oh, that's $250 free dollars, which was just insane. So I downloaded a bunch of like movies, and actually I downloaded like 4 movies really, and then I spent the rest on seasons, like complete series sets of anime series, because when am I ever going to find those for a good price? So I bought a lot of crazy stuff. Pretty nuts. Like, I mean, if you transferred stuff from your Target Ticket to your Cinema Now and you haven't checked your Cinema Now recently, do it. You might have a whole bunch of free credit. I don't know where my credit came from. You might have some as well. Check your Cinema Now accounts if you did that. Anyway, so People versus George Lucas. This is one of the ones I wanted to get because a lot of you guys said it was great. I need to check it out. And it was really enjoyable. I really liked it. And I hit a little close to home a little bit too. It's just interesting to watch all these people who just, love Star Wars, love George Lucas, and then to watch them just, still love Star Wars, but just completely turn on George Lucas, all basically because of two things. One, because of him re-editing his, movies back in like 97, and the fact that he's been constantly re-editing them. And then, of course, because of the prequel movies, and just them watching these people just like tear George Lucas a new one. This guy who they like loved and looked up to and admired. And as soon as like 97 comes, they're just like, we hate you, George. And again, it kind of hit a little close to home because just recently with my very controversial Patreon video where a lot of people, I thought it was a lot of people, ended up not being as many people as I thought, but some people turned just because of a video that like didn't affect them whatsoever. Kind of the same thing with the Star Wars. It's like, it doesn't, it is what it is. It doesn't really affect you. It's not ruining your life, and it's not doing anything to you. Just let it be. It is what it is. Like, is it really that big of a deal? It's not like you can't get the movies. I mean, yeah, you got to buy Laserdisc or VHS or those crappy like Laserdisc. Well, they weren't crappy, but they're not great. Those Laserdisc transfers they put on DVD that are letterbox, which sucks. That you can get those. It's not like you can't get the unedited movies, but it would be nice to have them in high definition and stuff. And hey, now that Disney took over, maybe we'll get them. I don't know, but it's just great to watch these people just turn on George Lucas and just how like much hate they have towards this guy for something that really doesn't matter. It's like, this is the worst thing in your life. Does it really matter? It's pretty crazy. And again, I kind of find it amusing. I was watching as like a couple days after the Patreon video where people freaked out over something that just didn't matter at all. But so great watch. You guys are correct. This was a really great documentary. I love it. If you're a Star Wars fan, check it out. Very, very cool. Very well done documentary. Love the hell of it. See this one. All right, then I watched Tim's Vermeer, which is all about this guy who becomes like obsessed with the painter Vermeer and his paintings, and he basically he's read some books and stuff and heard some theories and whatnot, and it's kind of this whole thing where like in the Renaissance, painting went from like more like simplistic to like really realistic, and it was kind of just like, how did that happen? And Vermeer is looked upon as like doing almost like photorealistic paintings, and kind of how did they go from more simple paintings to like paintings that look like a photograph? Like how did this happen? And he comes up with this whole theory of how he did it, and it's this whole thing with like a light box and a mirror, and basically he's kind of like almost like tracing an image, sort of like paint tracing and stuff like that, and that's how he thinks that these paintings were done. And it's really interesting. Like, they don't know if this was actually done this way, and they see that a million times in the movie, which I love. I love a documentary like this where they're not like, oh, we figured it out, this is how he did it, there's no other way. And then they're like, this could have been how he did it. They do say could a lot. They never at any point in this movie say this is how he must have done it, there's no way about it, this is how he did it, bottom line. No, they just say this is a theory on how he might do it. I was like, that's so cool that you're actually correctly doing a documentary where you're like, this is a theory. I love that. So very interesting. And also watching this guy Tim go through the process of trying to figure this out, because he beginning the movie, he's like, all right, it was done with a light box and with this and with that and with this, and then as it goes on, he realizes, okay, that's not working, so it must have been something else. And he gets this other idea and goes, oh, well, if we put like a mirror up, it does this. And oh, we don't need the whole actual like light box now. We don't need that. We just need the lens. And he comes up with all these things, and eventually like works his theory into how it actually would play out. And it's very interesting to watch this guy go from the beginnings of his theory down to getting it to actually work. It was really, really cool. And watch this guy who's never painted before paint this amazing painting, this painting that like looks like a Vermeer painting, which he did all just by kind of like trace painting. And it's very, very interesting. So check the movie out. Very cool. If you're an artist, see it. Definitely worth checking out. Even if you're not an artist, it's very cool. All right. And then last but not least, again, really should have grabbed some water for this video. I watched Trekkies 2. Decent documentary. If you've seen the first Trekkies, it was a pretty decent documentary. But I almost thought Trekkies 2 was kind of like an oops, I'm sorry to Trekkies 1. Because Trekkies 1 was definitely one of those movies where, of course, who are you going to interview when you interview a movie about, Star Wars geeks? You're going to interview the really crazy, eccentric people. You're going to interview the ones that look like they're nuts and off their rocker, because they're the interesting ones. They're the ones who are going to make the documentary interesting. You're not going to want to do the guy who, who's a lawyer, but then occasionally goes to a Star Wars convention and who just goes, yeah, I like Star Wars. It's cool. I wear a Captain Kirk outfit when I go. Yay. You're not going to interview that guy because that's not very interesting. You're going to interview the transvestite who there was one, or the lady who caused a big controversy when she dressed up like in her Star Wars gear to go to work and to court. And you're going to interview the eccentric ones. And I think people were pretty pissed off by that. And they even mentioned that in this video, this movie, that there were some people who were really put off by the way they made the Trekkies and the Trekkers look. They kind of painted a bad light, which these documentaries always do. And I felt in this one, it was almost kind of like an oops. Like they kind of made things look better, and they showed really eccentric people, but kind of more like normal eccentric, if that makes any sense. So I almost felt like it was just kind of like we're sorry we went really overboard with the first movie and we really made Trekkies have to be a bad thing. We're gonna still show some eccentric Trekkies here and Trekkers, but we're gonna make it we're gonna make it better. We're going to not make everybody seem like they're so crazy. We're gonna really base this documentary around making it seem like, okay, these people do what they do, they love what they do, they may be a little eccentric, but they're just great, down the heart human beings who love people and raise money for charity and do all these great stuff. So I did feel like this movie was kind of like an I'm sorry. It felt like an apology almost, but it still was a decent watch. If you like Trekkies, you're gonna like Trekkies too. It was worth checking out. If you're a Star Wars fan, see the movies. That's all I can say. So all right, guys, there you go. That's it. Not too bad. 35 minutes. Not too shabby at all. Again, I'm expecting lots of comments down below where you guys fill me in all this stuff, all the names. I'm forgetting. Was it Wedding Ringer? Was that the movie I was trying to think of with Kevin Hart? Yeah, I think that was the movie I was trying to think of. Anyway, I know. Anyway, guys, so, so like I always say, thank you so much for watching these videos. I really, really, really appreciate your support simply just by watching. But of course, you can also show your support by liking this video. That means the absolute world to me. Please like this video. I'd really appreciate it. Also, you can subscribe to both CinemaSickness.com and on YouTube. Subscribe to my videos. I do a brand new video every single day. Been doing it for over 4 years now. Plus, I throw in bonus videos here and there, like a hunting video that I just recently thrown in, a cinema hunting video. Check that out if you haven't seen that yet. So if you want to see a new video from me every single day, subscribe. Also, you can show your support down below if you're watching this on YouTube. There are links in the description, things like my Patreon account, where you can make a monthly, what do they call it? A monthly pledge. I always forget the word pledge. Make a monthly pledge towards these videos to show your support and help these videos out. I'd appreciate that. There's also a link to my Spreadshirt account where you can purchase yourself a Cinema Sickness t-shirt, Cinema Sickness hat, buttons, hoodies, tank tops, all kinds of awesome Cinema Sickness merch if you're looking to get some of that. Also, there's the usuals, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can follow me on all of those. And also, if you're on Listia and eBay, I have those links to my Listia and eBay accounts down below as well. And if you're watching us at CinemaSickness.com, all those links are above under the Cinema Sickness banner. All those links are right above, right under the Cinema. They're right. I'm talking way too fast. They are right underneath the Cinema Sickness logo. You'll just see all the icons. Click on those. They'll take you to any of those sites. And if you're not at CinemaSickness.com and you're watching us on YouTube, there's also a link to CinemaSickness.com down below in the description. Just click on that. Head over there. Check it out. There's a lot more to see there than just these videos. I certainly do post these videos there, but there's so much more. I post all kinds of other stuff. My entire collection is listed there. My watch list is listed there. My wish list, there's an FAQ, there's just all kinds of stuff for you to check out, including Team Sickness. If you like my videos, you're going to like the videos and reviews and all the stuff from Team Sickness. Check them out. A lot of great guys and gals doing a lot of great videos and whatnot. Check them out. If you like what I do, you'll like what they do. And all you got to do at CinemaSickness.com is just click on the Team Sickness tab and you can check out all their videos. So, all right, guys, there you go. That's it. I think I'm going to go get myself a burger now. To all this talking not only got me really thirsty, but man, I'm really hungry too. So I think I'm going to get myself a burger and some fries from the local bar. That sounds delicious. That sounds yummy. And I'll watch a movie while I do it. So, all right, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Again, really appreciate your support. Simply just by checking these videos out, it means the absolute world to me. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great Tuesday. And I will see you all tomorrow on Wednesday. Wow, halfway through the week already tomorrow. That's awesome. See you then, guys. Bye.